Dateline Honolulu, March 20th, 2000. More than 800 senior business and government leaders have come to Hawaii from over 25 economies throughout the Pacific Rim for the Millennium Meeting of the Pacific Basin Economic Council. This marked the 33rd International General Meeting, or IGM, of PBEC, the region's premier international business organization, and it was a world-class conference, Hawaiian style. IGMs regularly feature prominent business, government, academic, and international experts who come together to discuss trade, technology, transparency, and more, and the Hawaii IGM didn't disappoint. After 3 days of fruitful internal working meetings, which yielded important policy recommendations on breaking economic issues, PBEC opened its doors to the many delegates who have come to expect stimulating speeches, exciting shows, and international networking. The opening session at the Hawaii Convention Center drew more than 1,600 people, an all-time IGM record. The meeting also attracted an impressive international media contingent, over 130 strong, to cover the proceedings, with journalists from all over the Asia-Pacific broadcasting PBEC's Hawaii IGM to the world.
Hawaii is hosting hundreds of senior business leaders and dignitaries from around the Pacific this week. The Pacific Basin Economic Council's International General Meeting kicked off today.
Prominent business and government leaders from throughout the region were featured in the 3-day program. People like U.S. Ambassador to Japan, Thomas Foley, U.S. Trade Representative, Charlene Barshevsky.
If trade policy is to have the same foundation of public support in this new era as it has had in the past half-century, each of us must work harder to make the case for open markets, each of us must be willing to listen, and each of us must be willing to respond to legitimate criticisms.
Lockheed Martin Chairman, CEO, and President, Vance Kaufman. Admiral Dennis Blair, Commander-in-Chief of all U.S. Armed Forces in the Pacific. And millionaire publisher and former presidential candidate, Steve Forbes.
But recently, Mr. Greenspan posited that productivity was something to be feared because if you had greater productivity, people would say, gee, stocks will go up because companies are going to earn more money. And if stocks go up, that means people will have more to spend. And that's inflationary. So productivity is to be feared. It's almost as if you went to a doctor. And the doctor said, you're very healthy. We have to make you sick a little bit. In medicine, you get sued for malpractice. In economics, they put you on the Federal Reserve of the IMF. It is bizarre.
Australian Defence Minister John Moore. Korean Minister for Trade Han Duck-so. Sir Peter Blake, head of expeditions for the Cousteau Society and leader of New Zealand's winning team in the America's Cup.
I think we've got to think about sustainable ecology, where long-term consequences of our decisions and actions are fully considered. Long-term, I don't mean 5 years or 10 years, I mean 50 and 100 years out and beyond. This is what will ensure the continued prosperity of mankind.
Guillermo Fernandez de Soto, Colombian Foreign Affairs Minister. Philippine Central Bank Governor Rafael Buenaventura. And Yukio Okamoto, President, Okamoto Associates Incorporated.
The end of the Cold War have changed the rest of the world. But in Asia, however, the picture is quite different. Military threats remain and are being aggravated because the security dynamics of the region have been indigenous in character and, as a result, far more difficult to manage.
From the opening session to the very end, the speeches were insightful, the discussions provocative.
It's a really problematic situation in Asia, and it's not just problematic for Asia and the rest of the Pacific, but for the world economy, is the situation of Japan.
Well, in order not to repeat what Dr. Curtis said, let me start out by saying I think he is reasonably correct on Asia, dead wrong on Japan.
On topics ranging from international relations to corporate responsibility.
Seattle was very real. You had a group of people of all ages concerned, thinking that perhaps corporations and governments and their expansion activities forgot about mankind, forgot about the people, forgot about the environment, and traded it off for corporate profits. After being here at this fabulous event for the last few days, I could see that during the Pacific Basin Economic Council, nothing could be further from the truth.
That groundbreaking session on corporate responsibility was especially well received, prompting former Ecuadorian President Sixto Durán Ballén to proclaim, "PBEC shows it has a soul, a social soul, that we worry about the human being, not just about making money." The presentation of the second annual Environmental Award to Sony Magnetic Products Thailand reaffirmed PBEC's commitment to helping protect world ecology on a global level.
The second Environmental PBEC Award to Sony Magnetic Products Thailand Company Limited.
Through a partnership with Oracle and CDS, a local partner of Sun Microsystems, delegates were able to use a state-of-the-art system to facilitate networking, a key benefit of PBEC and the IGM. As always, old friendships were renewed and new relationships were forged.
You'll see a lot of conversations, a lot of passing of business cards, a lot of meetings that are being arranged offline, not necessarily in the meeting itself.
The IGM wasn't all work. In fact, the Hawaii conference featured an unprecedented array of special activities and unforgettable entertainment. Delegates were dazzled by a performance of the internationally renowned Byuk-sa dance troupe from the Republic of Korea. Celebrated Japanese violinist Iko Kawai enchanted delegates with a stirring performance. Golf is a mainstay of PBEC events, but in Hawaii, with some of the most beautiful courses in the world, there was not one but two tournaments. Drawn by Hawaii's natural charm, a record number of spouses participated in the spouse program. And of course, the unique history, culture, and flavor of the Hawaiian Islands was woven throughout the IGM program. There was hula, live music by Hawaii's premier artists, and exotic Pacific Rim cuisine from Honolulu's leading chefs. The final night brought policymakers and delegates together for a traditional Hawaiian luau. From start to finish, the flavor of Hawaii provided the backdrop for an incredible IGM, PBEC's Millennium Meeting. 6 days of policy deliberations, substantive speeches, and the forging of relationships that will last a lifetime. Of course, no IGM would be complete without an invitation for the next IGM, Minoru Murufushi, chairman of Japan's Itochu Corporation.
The PBEC Japan member committee is very much looking forward to welcoming all of you to the 34th International General Meeting. As for the cherry blossoms, I will do my best to ensure that they will be in full bloom for our meeting. Thank you very much, and aloha.